Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How's everyone tonight? I hope you're doing well, and I hope my broadcast is coming through nice and smooth. We got a lot of stuff to get into tonight. What a week, and it's only Monday. So anyway, Trump is in Saudi Arabia. What was I thinking about him going out of going overseas, and maybe somebody was going to get the Ajax put on him while they're gone? Is it going to be this one on the screen, Tish James, or maybe a bigger fish? I will let you know what I think about that after I play some of these intro videos while we give people time to get in the chats. And I appreciate everybody who shows up tonight and everybody who watches the broadcast after I go live. So, come on in, shake off your skin, rattle around in your bones.
That it is Barack Obama who corrupts the Justice Department. It is Hillary Clinton who routinely breaks the law and gets away with it. And now we have Joe Biden who's learned. He's learned from Obama that doesn't matter what you do, if you're a liberal Democrat, you will not be prosecuted. He learned from Hillary that a person in high public office can get millions and millions of dollars. And they learned from watching Donald Trump that a true outsider willing to take on the entire system could destroy their entire machine. So what you're seeing across the country is a desperate last-ditch effort by a corrupt machine to destroy their most dangerous opponent in a way which not only breaks the Constitution, destroys the rule of law, and establishes a moment of bitterness, which I think will last for a generation or more. I think this is going to be a horrendous period, and we just need to understand the people who want to control America and dictate to the rest of us will break any law, lie about any topic, and manipulate the system any way they can. And that includes a lot of the elite news media.
Stronger and better than ever before. They're mostly gone. They're all coming back. This is why people in countries want to kill me. They're not happy with me. It's a risky business. This is why they want to kill me. They only kill consequential presidents, remember that. But this is why, if you're one of the countries that's affected, you're not happy with what I'm saying. When they used to say they like Barack Hussein Obama, of course they do, because he did nothing to help us. When they like Biden, who doesn't know he's alive, of course they like him, because he does nothing to bring your businesses back. He lets the world rob our country, the robber barons. He lets them rob and steal from our country, and most importantly, he lets them take our job.
Storm's on.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
And they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
And he's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
I think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give President tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off. Payback time. Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long
time. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Thanks for stopping by. I had a little shortened intro there. Hi, Angel. How you doing? Darla, Todd, Debbie, Kathy, Andrew. Angel's here. Wayne gave me thumbs up. Brush is here. Yes, thumbs up helped the video to get around. Hi, Ronald. So make sure you do that. Hi, Darla. Nice to see you. Yes, Mr. T called them out today, Debbie. Williams here. Nice to see you. So we learned quite a bit today. Those who were watching the press conferences and various reading truths and things like that. One thing you learned is take the putt, right? Somebody gives you a putt, you take it. That's in reference to the Air Force One jet that is one of the wet paper straws that the left is trying to grab at to stop this Trump momentum that is steamrolling across the country and overseas. And it's unstoppable. Nothing can stop it. And it's picking up steam. And we're going to be seeing results from it very, very soon. We already are. We know that. So, yeah, you take the putt. And this business with the airplane, I'm going to tell you my opinion on it. But right when I started the broadcast, this is liberals are so upset with Trump. You would think he stole 90% of the Haitian Relief Fund, sold 20% of our uranium to Russia, deleted 33,000 emails, and let innocent Americans die in Benghazi. So I started off the broadcast asking, Trump's going overseas, and I said, well, wouldn't it be something if each time he goes overseas there is a big arrest? What do you think? What do you think? He took off today. I started off with this. I said, might it be Tish James? We're going to get the low-hanging fruit. Or when are we going to see a big bust? A big bust. Is this going to be a boom week? When you take this clutter of information and collate it and keep it in your mind as to what's happening behind the scenes. They're trying to say that Trump is on the take with Qatari over the jet. They're trying to say that Pam Bondi is turning on Trump because she won't release the Epstein stuff. We heard her on a recording. She didn't know she was being recorded. She was saying we've got to go through tens of thousands of hours of disgusting stuff, and all that stuff was designed to identify for bribery purposes who was involved. So is it going to be Tish James? I don't know. Because a couple of weeks ago, I'll tell you a possibility. Something out of the blue they haven't been thinking about for a while. Anybody got any ideas? Let's see. I'm just looking at the chats. About a week and a half ago, maybe, Mr. T put this little retweeted an old tweet from years ago. Or not? No, this is a new one. This is a new one from James Comey. I just got my copies. Everyone else, May 20th. Oh, Nora and Benny battling white-wing domestic terrorism fueled by well-funded demagoguery. I wish it weren't so real. Hope you'll like it. James Comey's new book. Maybe it'll be somebody like him. Or Nellie Orr. Or Bruce Orr. Or, I don't know, Adam Schiff. There's so many. And then again, he may just have them all sitting around worried. But James Comey's got a new book out. Make sure you don't spend any money on it. Ha, ha, ha. So anyway, I see a lot of these memes about teaching Democrats to fish. And, I just skim over them because I heard about it. But this one is got a little new twist to it. It's getting more accurate by the day. Teach a Democrat to fish and lead for a day. Teach a Democrat how to fish. Teach him how to fish. Give him a fish. He'll eat for a day. Teach. And he'll create fishing licenses, tax your rod, identify the fish as endangered, and close your fishing spot. Yeah. What is it with these characters where they got to have control? They got to have control. They seek to destroy. Trump gave a monumental press conference about the China trade deal and about pharmaceuticals, giving us a glimpse. What really didn't give us a glimpse. He ripped the door wide open and said, look what's been going on with trillions of dollars over decades and decades. Yourselves, myself, our parents, our grandparents have been financing socialist medical systems all around the world because we pay 200% more for medicine in many cases. Okay, I got a little clip from Trump I'll play about that. And that allows their governments to have their, air quotes, free health care. We've been getting robbed and pilfered from and abused from every angle for decades and decades and decades. Trillions of dollars, and it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. That's why I put powerful, angry, powerful people in my thumbnail. Here you have Trump signs an EO implementing most favored nation prescription drug pricing. And before the ink dried, right when he was writing, I think I have that clip too. What about this jet you're getting from Qatar? Don't you think it'll be looking proper? I might as well get into what I think about the jet from Qatar. Do you think that any country, oh, look there, refugees welcome, unless they're pale-skinned people, they're not welcome. Why is it? But anyway, do you think that any country could build a brand new, up to Department of Defense standard specs, all right, up to their standards for the President of the United States, an authorized aircraft with security clearances, with high-level inspections, the most modern equipment, defensive capabilities, offensive capabilities, secondary survival systems, things we don't even know about. You think they could build that in 100 days? And you think Trump is going to just say, oh, these sheiks gave me a plane. I think I'll ride around in that fancy plane. That's been in the works for a great many years. The craft that he's going to get. And every bolt, every screw, every nut, every wire, everything in that plane has been scrutinized. And it's going to be the flagship. So, no, it's not just some very wealthy sheik just said, build Mr. Trump a plane and put a bar in it. Oh, thank you. No. So, anyway, these things are thought out way ahead of time. And Qatar, it's just like I've criticized, like Stink Uger from the middle-aged Turks getting money from Qatar, but that was years ago. That was over a decade ago. To throw them in the spotlight. We know about USAID. We know about these crooked lawyers that are going around in the system, the club that we ain't in, pushing these channels. I go over some of them. But there are elements over there specifically connected with the military and backed by the military, each of these countries we're dealing with. Because as I've said, this is a worldwide police action. Yeah, it's taken decades, but even taking down the mob took years of undercover work. Watch the movie Donnie Brasco. He was undercover with the mob for years. Couldn't tell his wife nothing. So we're talking about a worldwide cabal. And remember, during Trump's first term, how many of you remember this? And be honest now. Put a thumbs up if you remember when Trump said, I made some very wealthy people angry. That was when he put limitations on insulin, the cost of insulin, which Biden later took credit for. And he also put some other stipulations on Big Pharma when dealing with the government. And he said, I might have to disappear for a while because I have some very wealthy people very angry at me. Remember that? Well, they're very angry now. I see what you're saying, since he seized asset, but the plane has to be up to Department of Defense specs to carry the President of the United States, to have all the communications, all the hardware, all the software, to talk with the White House, talk with the head of the military, talk to national security. It's not like they said, oh, Qatar, we're going to take that plane because we like it, and we're going to seize your assets. It is a joint venture. It is cooperation. It's cooperation between the alliance. And that's why some people feel like we're at odds with countries, but sometimes you got to put on a show. There's an alliance, a military-civilian alliance that have decided to take down the principalities that have been running this earth for at least 1,000 years. Most recently emanating out of Brussels. Old camperman, how you doing? Oh, are you the camperman that used to come here? I hadn't seen him in a while, did you? Or you just decided to call yourself old? Ha ha. Michelle, how you doing? Miss Mendersoon, well, she remembers. Sherry remembers. Michelle, yes. I'm glad you caught the live too. Oh, my. Beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Well, my point is, Kim, you're dealing with the highest level of presidential, national defense, national security. They're not just going to take an off-the-shelf plane from Qatar. And they're not going to let them build, how you doing, Pappy Two Bears? They're not going to let them build a plane and then come around sell. They're going to inspect and supervise every step of the construction of that plane. And that facility is going to be crawling with intelligence agents and security. And that doesn't happen in 100 days is what I'm saying. This has been going on for a long time. And, you know, the mentality from the left is like Trump's falling for a bribe or a cheap or a fancy plane as a gift is such ignorant thinking. When you think about what is entailed in having an authorized aircraft to be Air Force One, the level of security checks is mind-boggling, but they do it. For all we know, Boeing could have made that plane at an AF alternate facility. They could have built that thing somewhere in Dallas or Wyoming at a secret base and took it to Qatar. That's my bet. That's my bet. Because they say it makes the current Air Force One look like something they were running around with at Kitty Hawk. And it is an old clunker. It's almost 4 or maybe older than 40 years old. Those things don't happen overseas. But like Trump said, I could cure cancer. I could do anything. And you all will never appreciate it. Never stand for it. Never clap for it. They want anarchy. They want chaos. They want somebody to consider at all times their superior intellect when they can't see past their noses. So when you start to walk your own path, do your own thing, it enrages them. We demand our overpriced drugs. Oh, I know what you mean, Camperman. I know what you mean. What do they want in return? It's all been laid out. What they want in return is to destroy the caliphate that Iran is trying to, they will use to topple Saudi Arabia. They will use the caliphate to topple Qatar. They will topple the Arab Emirates. They will topple Egypt. They almost did with the Muslim Brotherhood. So if America falls, the world falls. They know it. So they better cough up a plane. And like I'm saying, for all any of us know, this could be a cover. They could have built that thing in a secret base in Wyoming. Don't tell me they don't have secret bases. A skunk's work in Texas. And took it to Qatar. That thing's probably got stealth capability to a certain degree. Electronic scrambling. When it takes off, you're not going to see it on the map Monkey Works uses, and some people sit around, watch planes fly around, trying to figure out what's happening in this world. Hi, Greg. How you doing? Diane? Well, it's 13 years old. Well, they could have refurbished that plane. Wherever it was done and however it was done under the direct eyeballs of the Department of Defense. High-level security around its reconditioning or actual construction. Here's one for your meta page. People who said give him a month. Ha ha ha. Staring a hole through the people who said Trump can't win a trade war with China. China had to come to the table. And he said, if you don't make a deal, I'll make a deal for you. We'll get into that too. And he said 80% sounds about right. Nobody's buying anything at 130. So we'll go to 80. That sounds about right. Next thing you know, people are meeting. They want to get together. Which one should I leave up? How about that? I'll leave that one up for a little bit. Well, I hope you start feeling better soon, cameraman. Eat right, get your rest, be kind to yourself, and move around during the day as much as you can. Because they say use it or lose it, right? Dark day for democracy as insurrectionists storm government building. That's from a Babylon Bee. I chose Mr. T holding a red pill because they can't help but see what's going on. Now, in my thumbnail, I put a picture of Sonia Sotomayor, the quintessential Karen of the Supreme Court, even though we have some runners-up, egging them on. If it wasn't for her statements, her muddled and muddied rulings that people can't make heads or tails of if they don't know how to read with an open mind. And putting out statements, we have to fight this fight. Instead of acting like a jurist, she's acting like a college radical. She's got to go. And I believe that was already known to Trump before his first term. When is that crunch time going to come? I was going to use this picture with Sotomayor clapping because I had it all prepared and ready and just put Sotomayor there clapping her hands. Here they are, back in New Jersey, blocking the gates, holding hands, pressing a sign that says love against a van full of ghastly individuals that they want to keep in this country. For some reason, they want to see this country in a terrible shape. They think it's good. Well, Sotomayor needs to understand her responsibilities and her obligations are for American citizens not feeling sorry for everybody on the face of the earth. Trump brings in 58 people. I think he said around 60, but I think it was 58 from South Africa, where they're conducting a genocide over there and talking about it in public, egging people on in football stadiums. South Africa, that's a shining star. That's where Fannie Willis's father wanted to go live. What do you think he'd be doing? You think he'd be protecting people from being murdered and their property being taken? Or do you think he'd be right in with it? Right in with it. Nelson Mandela. Nothing but a communist. That's all he was. And so many hold him up as a hero. We want to have peace and happiness across South Africa. I like this one too. Paid $2 million to rent Oprah and lost. Put a sticker on a garbage truck and won. Yeah, you guys got problems. And they're eating each other alive isn't going to change a daggone thing. Where I had that tape of Chuck Todd about a week ago. Here he is. Here they are now. How they're talking about Biden. That's their at least two targets they've got right now. Biden and Fetterman. They're headhunting Fetterman, and he knows it. He's going to have to become a Republican. But this is Chuck Todd. Like now, he's looking with his nose stuck out. He's looking down his nose. I never thought Biden was a good guy. Yeah. You wouldn't have known it the way you lied to the American people for years.
I think Biden was a failed presidency.
And he thinks that he would have won.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
Who's telling him that?
A better leader would have made the country not want to return to Trump.
Chuck, I endorsed the guy, and I thought he was going to be a healer, and he was anything but that. Biden's people wouldn't let anybody near him, and the cover-up by the media is a disgrace.
I blame the Democratic Party. The media only can report what they can report.
But they did report what they saw. And the other thing is they all want access. If you want to get access to Tiger Woods, you better not write anything negative.
That wasn't the presidency I thought we were voting for.
No,
I actually thought we were voting for a guy who was going to restore the idea that this is how governance should work. Everybody's got a seat at the table.
Yep. But
and it didn't work that way.
Yeah, now they're all trying to, I guess, save their own legacy. Their own garbage legacy. Here's a clip from Jesse Waters I never played. I always ran out of time. But it's still relevant. Still relevant. I'll go ahead and play it.
Law and Order is making a comeback, but the media won't like who's being held accountable. A dozen swanky D.C. restaurants just got iced, including Chef Jeff's. Who owns that? Well, that would be Norah O'Donnell's husband. Some of the other owners are getting a little nervous about the feds sniffing around.
It's very concerning. The employees are very scared. We're worried about some of them not coming back to work, and just a general panic amongst the people that it affects.
Trump's just doing what Biden wouldn't, keeping our country safe and stopping migrants from keeping wages low. An illegal who Trump booted in April, he was just arrested in Brazil for plotting to kill Lady Gaga and her fans at a concert in Rio de Janeiro. Stateside, Venezuelan gangbangers attacked cops in Times Square. Eric Adams wants Homeland to toss them. They're not slowing down. Bondi says agents just made the biggest fentanyl bust in DEA history, which brought down dozens of Sinaloa cartel members.
They seized 3 million fentanyl pills in that raid, 49 firearms, and almost $5 million in cash was seized as a result of this raid. 6 of them were illegal aliens, all of them Sinaloa cartel members, worst of the worst, and Donald Trump took them off the streets and saved countless lives.
While Trump's team's cracking down on criminal illegals, Congress is hauling sanctuary state governors to the Capitol to testify. But before that happens, Kristi Noem's take.
I'm just going to interject real quick. He was talking about raids at D.C. restaurants, swanky D.C. restaurants, and that's why Penguin 6 didn't hear of raids or see any raids, because wealthy, connected people had illegal aliens working at their restaurants, and they're not going to get out there screaming, yelling, protest, and block ICE. They're going to let those things happen as low-key as possible and cooperate, because they're in hot water. That's why the point I was trying to make the other day. But anyway, I'll continue this.
Taking the fight to JB Back Ribs' home turf.
President Trump has been focused on making sure that we're going after the worst of the worst, going after those who are perpetuating violence against American citizens. And Governor Pritzker has created a sanctuary here for those criminals and invited them here with free health care, free housing, free assistance, and facilitated them being protected from being brought to justice. We need to return to law and order, and we need to put people first. Let's work together to protect the American people.
The feds just aren't focused on the border. The DOJ and FBI just arrested over 200 pedophiles.
These depraved human beings, if convicted, will face the maximum penalty in prison, some life. We will find you, we will arrest you, and we will charge you. If you are online targeting a child, you will not escape us.
If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children.
The DOJ is working overtime to make sure these creeps face the music. Even death won't give you a free pass from justice. Bondi says the FBI is reviewing thousands of pieces of evidence related to the Epstein files.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that.
Stuff, as I said before, should have been gone through years ago. People should have been arrested years ago. We got to put those puzzle pieces together and make our decisions on when to take these people down. Who's that? A big name movie star with a so-called daughter? A son, daughter? I don't know. These are the kind of people that scream bloody murder about Trump. They can't stand him. What's going on with that? How about this? Trump issues new striped robes for federal judges. One thing we heard today at the press conference was that there are lobbyists for every congressman and judge. Did you hear that, folks? That was dropped today and nobody caught it. What are lobbyists doing talking to judges? Giving them a back rub, a neck rub to vote a certain way? Or are they get on the TAKE, right? On the take? Or do they pass on threats? I don't know. But we heard from the Oval Office today that there are lobbyists for every member of Congress and every judge. That means they know who they are. But you heard Pam Bondi talking about Epstein. Now, this was stuff that was bombs that were dropping last week. Now look at what we're dealing with this week. Well, that we're enjoying this week. They got to deal with it. But here's Midas Trash Network. Really about 3 hours ago. God knows how many views they got. They got 28,000 views in 1 hour. Epstein cover-up. Even MAGA pissed. I'm not. Trumpers turn against his AG amid Epstein cover-up. Even their thumbnail makes no sense. That's a picture that's probably 40 years old. A guy like Epstein would sidle up to anybody to get his picture taken with him. I had a very good friend of mine. He had a picture taken with him and Muhammad Ali. He had a restaurant in a town where Muhammad Ali would never come, ever. The picture was 50 years old. It's still hanging in the restaurant. He passed away about 5 years ago. He's proud of it. He's proud of it. And that was the only time he ever met him. But the left is trying to insinuate that Trump's hiding something. People were saying the James O'Keefe undercover thing was somehow nefarious, or that O'Keefe was just a clickbaiter. No, what he was doing was getting people to watch Pam Bondi say that there's tens of thousands of hours of disgusting videos with very powerful people in them. A lot of people don't even know that. But that list is getting smaller and smaller. Wonder if this creep's on it. This creep right here, Kier Starmer. I didn't want to listen to him for a minute and 46 seconds. Remember him? He was sitting there looking all innocent while somebody was taking a hide in a baggie of Coke. Oh, it was a dirty napkin. Oh, that's what the president of France does. He takes a dirty napkin off a table and shoves it in his pocket. You know these people. They let the help take care of it. They're not going to clean up a table. But anyway, what was the context of his yammering after he met with Trump? You think Trump said something to him about sending British operatives over to interfere with the election? Like that member of parliament said on the floor of parliament? Kier Starmer, to finally limit immigration to UK. We risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together. Boy, isn't he changing his tune. And he agreed to that trade deal awful quick, too. What kind of folder did Trump dump in his lap? Here's these old biddies. I don't mean to. Well, Eric Dougherty. Update, Democrats block van with ICE detainees from entering the facility in New Jersey. Some crazy person holds a sign that says, "Love at the bus." This van could be filled with KILers and gang members. This is utter madness. You got that right. What was popping up in my news feed? Let's see. Trump administration's threat to suspend core U.S. legal rights sparks outcry and alarm. Even though it's already been done 4 times in the past. Even though it will be tailored to people that aren't even supposed to be in this country. They want these victim suckers. They like to suck victimhood into their bodies and stare at you. Look at me, I'm a victim because of you. So they all want to feel persecuted, even though it's ridiculous. It's a necessary move, and it's a ridiculous narrative. Trump administration's mass layoffs halted by, guess what, a federal judge. Republicans defend Democrat Senator John Fetterman. They had a story out about him saying he was disoriented walking into traffic. We don't know. Now they don't know if he's fit to serve. The story they're talking about was right after his stroke. Before he was treated for depression and stroke-related issues. And I think the mental illness known as liberalism was exorcised from his brain at the Joint Air Force Base Andrews. That's where he stayed, under the supervision of military doctors. Brasso, Senate Majority Whip, Republican in Wyoming. I don't believe that suggested habeas corpus suspension will, quote, come to Congress. Why would it come to Congress? It's in the Constitution that the executive makes these decisions concerning foreign policies, invasions, things of that nature. But it gets the loose-brained liberals, oh, Congress won't even protect us from Trump. Nobody's talking about you unless you go after a federal agent or harbor foreign elements. Federal judge's order for Trump to return deported migrant temporarily halted on appeal. There are members of the judiciary fighting back against the wokeness. They're getting activated. I'm sure it's being communicated to them that they're going to be protected. The Supreme Court is going to be determining birthright citizenship, the abuse of birthright citizenship, which was intended for freed slaves and the children of American citizens, not for unlawful presence in the country, people who don't respect our laws. And they follow that up with a 2-year-old deported U.S. citizen's family. Oh, they frame it in such lowbrow ways. Here's Trump signing the historic bill where they have to stop robbing us through medicine, where we subsidize all these highfalutin countries where all their prime ministers and parliamentarians look down their nose at us. The only reason you got that broken down commie system that you call free is because you're ripping us off. But anyway, I'll play these two clips back to back.
As a personal gift to you, why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
Only ABC, well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear of him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto: when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that Sam Snead, When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respect.
Here he is in the middle of signing an earthquake to Big Pharma, to the European oligarchs that have been plucking our feathers. This is like an earthquake. And they bring up the plane from Qatar. And like I said, anybody with half a brain would know that it was being done under the scrutiny and with the permission of the Department of Defense, and it's been years and years in making. Anyway, here's another part of that clip. This is where he busts them real good. ABC News, you're in big enough trouble. That's what he tells them.
Ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster. Here is the bill. Bobby, come on over here. Now you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars. Thank you very much.
Pestering and blabbering about an off-topic issue when he's signing one of the biggest executive orders of his presidency. Something that's going to save this country trillions of dollars over the course of his presidency and beyond. Here's Alan Dershowitz. He's hot and cold, but here he is, starting to see the light about these damn news agencies that try to control the narrative. They don't want the shows tonight to talk about the trade deal with China. They don't want the shows to talk about peace with India and Pakistan and there wasn't an atomic bomb going off or multiple atomic bombs. They don't want to talk about Putin and Zelensky meeting in Turkey, and maybe even Trump too. They want to talk about that goofy plane.
Craziest lie from the mainstream media. I have to read it again.
I have to read it again. Trump claims Nazis treated Jewish prisoners with love. Even the word with is wrong. There isn't a syllable. There isn't a space between the words. That's true. Every single word of that is a lie. And then the newspapers say, oh my God, we're so worried the Supreme Court may take away our right of free speech and deny us the protection of malice. You have frittered away the trust of the American public. Your Trump derangement syndrome has so influenced and affected the way you reporting is deserving of nothing but the greatest contempt.
Deserves nothing but contempt. They're a pack of liars. Let's take a break from all this drama. I want to show you. Somebody put up a video about raising your kids right. Look at there. Junior's in the garden. You see him there with his straw hat on in the garden. And he's got Sissy in the back, sitting in her little kitty seat. Are those rabbits real? Is that chicken real? Ha ha ha. And he loves his little sister, don't you know? He's got the dog following. He's got the dog following. He's got the geese following, and the rabbits riding along, and the chicken and Sissy in the back bouncing around. Now watch some bureaucrat come up with a clipboard and start, oh, you got to do this. This is wrong. That's wrong. Can't do this. Can't do that. But anyway, there's a little man learning how to operate his tractor, take care of his sister and all his farm animals. But anyway, I thought that was cute. I should have saved that. Oh, wait a minute. I got another one I can play you. I found out why Chris Christie doesn't hold rallies anymore. Or never did. Boy, that'll back up a crowd. Watch where you point that thing. It might be loaded. But anyway, so here's a follow-up with Jesse Waters. We'll get back to Mr. T in a minute. What have we got here? Part of this red pill awakening. How many people you think are watching Jesse Waters' show with sweaty palms?
Pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. So why do we still know nothing about him? Well, we're finding out tonight some answers. The Wall Street Journal just got its hands on Jeffrey Epstein's private calendar. And it was a lot more suspicious than Brett Kavanaugh's. Epstein was meeting with the kind of people you'd think would steer clear of a convicted pedophile. Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with one of Barack Obama's top lawyers, Catherine Rumler. She met with Epstein dozens of times. Epstein even tried to set up Obama's lawyer to work for Bill Gates. How is Jeffrey Epstein a fixer between Obama's lawyer and Bill Gates? Epstein was also meeting with Joe Biden's CIA director. He wasn't CIA director at the time. He was Barack Obama's deputy secretary of state. William Burns was working for John Kerry at the State Department and meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, a known pedophile. And then Burns becomes CIA director. Today's director of the CIA went to Epstein's Manhattan townhouse where Epstein had sex with underage girls and, where he filmed other men having sex with underage girls. And William Burns went there and was then promoted to the director of the CIA. Now, I wonder if the future CIA director saw the portrait of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hanging in Epstein's parlor room. A few years later, Epstein was arrested.
I meant to get a copy of the picture of George Bush sitting there with a paper airplane with 2 Jenga towers sitting on the floor of the Oval Office, that painting. Remember that?
Arrested and then hung himself in a jail cell while security cameras just happened to not be working and the replacement guards just happened to fall asleep. And 2 years later, Biden just happens to pick William Burns to run the CIA.
And don't forget, Jesse, that James Comey's daughter was in charge of the recovering those tapes of the jail cell. Maureen Comey, right?
What are we supposed to think? It's never been more clear. Epstein was an intelligence asset. Not only was he working for the CIA, Israeli intelligence, maybe even Russia intelligence. So was the American government allowing an asset to traffic and molest teenage girls all over the world for intelligence? Were we allowing Epstein to commit crimes against children for blackmail material? Well, we asked the CIA director, William Burns. Why were you meeting with a convicted pedophile at his disgusting townhouse? And the CIA director said this: the director did not know anything about him, other than that he was introduced as an expert in the financial services sector and offered general advice on transition to the private sector. They had no relationship. So Obama's State Department official couldn't have asked anybody else in the entire country for help with a job in finance? He could have called any CEO, any hedge fund manager, any banking director. But he meets with Jeffrey Epstein, a guy that doesn't even really have a real business, a guy that doesn't even have a website, a guy that, as far as we know, only had one client, the CEO of Victoria's Secret. That doesn't add up, Bernsey. And this explains the sweetheart deal back in 2006. This explains the prison cell cover-up. And this explains why all the Epstein tapes went missing. Everything Epstein recorded, everything, missing.
Every property he owned.
No, it's not missing. Pam Bondi's just said she had a lot of it, Jesse. But anyway, I'll keep playing in a minute. But how many of you remember this guy's name associated with this, with the head of the CIA? We all know about John Brennan. We all know about Clapper. He's been laying awful low, this Burns guy. Has he been singing like a bird? Or maybe he'll be the one that gets picked up while Trump's overseas. I don't know. I don't remember too much being said about William Burns. But anyway.
But when he died, the Fed seized all the tapes, and the only person who's ever been arrested since then was the Madam, Maxwell.
Jeffrey Epstein found me almost immediately. He knew exactly where I was, the location. And I knew then that I was being filmed. I was being watched 24/7. There were cameras all over the island.
So the CIA has all the sex tapes, and they've been blackmailing like crazy. This is the blackmail jackpot. Hours of video starring the world's most important people in Epstein Island, in the Manhattan townhouse, and the Palm Beach estate, and the New Mexico ranch. Bill Clinton was good pals with Jeffrey. Flew on the Lolita Express 26 times. Went to his private island. So when someone does something that doesn't make any sense, maybe it's because they don't want to be doing what they're doing. Maybe it's because someone's telling them what to do and threatening to release the tapes if they don't.
We know a lot of people are being threatened. A lot of people are being paid off. On some of them, a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Dan Scavino posted this, and I played the long version of it. Flashback to 8 years ago, May 2017, when President Trump last visited Saudi Arabia. He was treated like royalty, and he got the sword dance. Biden got a fist bump. Biden got a fist bump. I got a screenshot of this because people aren't hearing this. They need to hear this. Trump suggests tariff revenue will be enough to cut all of the income tax. That's a creative way of saying abolish the income tax. Cut all of the income tax. That's what's going to happen. Here is, Dan Scavino also posted this. Trump boarding Air Force One. getting ready to head to Saudi Arabia. And then he posted another video. Where is it? He posted another video and the song you're going to hear. I doubt if it's copyrighted. The Marine Corps. From the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles on. Remember how the Marine Corps got its start. Thomas Jefferson was an ambassador, and he met a Muslim ambassador. And so he said, why are you taking our ships and taking our crew and enslaving our crew? You won't let them go. He said, that's part of our religion. We got the right to take them. And we got the right to keep them as slaves. So Jefferson, when he became president, he said, well, we're going to see about that. The Barbary pirates in Tripoli, Libya, modern day Libya. He sent them over there and slapped them around, and that put a stop to that business. Oh, I got something for you here. Jump to this topic real quick. Pope Leo. A lot of people are calling him Pope Bob. Pope Bob. But anyway, I shouldn't say that. But that's what his brother. Anyway, his brother's giving interviews. But if you watch Pope Leo, he will keep his back turned to somebody in this greeting line that has a alphabet flag, and you'll see his security be between him and the alphabet flag. But this Pope, he played it real cool. He just kept his back to the flag while he walked by and acted like nothing was going on. But it's a big statement, okay? Yeah, security's like, hey, you're not touching the Pope with that daggone flag. But he played it off real cool. But he didn't give him a second of an acknowledgement, did he? Because you end up with stuff like this. Girls softball. Take a look at that picture. In the girls softball.
That one was high and hot. Swing and a miss.
She reared back and unleashed one.
See how she whips it? The long arms is just such an advantage. The way Rothenberger is pitching, it might as well be 8-0 or something right now.
but wow.
The whip action of that long-armed Rothenberger.
Yeah, pretty sickening. Pretty sickening. Here's a video that the White House put out. All these big things that have been happening that I enumerated most of them, and they sit there and try to create a big story about a jet.
Starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries and will no longer tolerate profiteering and price gouging. For the first time in many years, we'll slash the cost of prescription drugs, and we will bring fairness to America. Drug prices will come down. We're going to cut out the middlemen and facilitate the direct sale of drugs at the most favored nation price directly to the American citizen.
I'm just so grateful to be here today. I never thought that this would happen in my lifetime.
This is the most powerful executive order on pharmacy pricing and healthcare ever in the history of our nation. By getting our allies to pay a bit more, we'll course correct a problem that's gotten out of hand.
We're standing up for the American consumer who's been paying far too high prices for far too long.
We didn't take an oath to heal patients and then watch their life get ruined financially. We're going to do everything we can at the FDA to support this executive order. It's transformative. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, they put together a good video there, even though they're getting harassed by these commie news organizations like ABC. Commie news organizations. Here's a something from overseas. Putin words change, but not his demand that Ukraine surrenders. Putin will demand Ukraine's capitulation at talks in Turkey. The Times. Russia insists on a change of Ukrainian government, refusal to join NATO, and concessions of territories, including Crimea, Kherson, Zaporozhye, and 2 other regions in the east, the publication reports. And I believe he's going to get everything that he's asking for. And the information is going to start coming out about the BIOLABs, right? What does Diamond Silk got to say? Texas AG Paxton secures $1.4 billion settlement with Google over data privacy allegations. We'll bring some of that green to my state. Privacy violations in parts unknown. I want at least $10 million. Texas attorney Ken Paxton to settle allegations of violating the data privacy rights of state residents. Ken Paxton's going places. He's going places. You know, Trump put out this truth where he said, whoa, my next truth will be one of the most, one most important and impactful I have ever issued. Enjoy. I guess he did this as a spoof. I've ordered all McDonald's ice cream machines to be repaired and fully operational by 2026. Also, the McRib is back. Enjoy. A little spoof. Once in a while you find libs with a sense of humor. Once in a great while. What's this? This would have made a good thumbnail picture. But they chopped the heads off at the top. See? All these Marxist operatives right here. All these Marxist operatives. You know their names. Okay, maybe we lied about Biden's health and Russian collusion and CVID, and Hunter's laptop, and voter fraud, and January 6th, and Ukraine, and Epstein, and Hollywood, and everything in between. But trust us when we tell you Trump is a threat to our democracy. There you go. Put that on your meta. Put that on your meta page. What's going on in the chats? I haven't even checked in a while. Ha! I hope I didn't miss it. This is Justin. How you doing? Greg's caught up in the moment. No, that was purposeful. He saw that flag. I'll play it again. I could tell the moment he recognized that flag and decided to do that back turn. He turned his back on that bunch. Oh, I might have already taken that out of the queue. Oh, the QUE, that is what the English people refer to as a line. I took it out of the lineup. By the way, folks, I want to thank Shannon. She went to buy me a coffee the other night. And K&S Cleanup, keeping me from getting skunked for the week. I have a link in the description if anybody wants to help out with buying me a coffee. And I also have that link in Rumble, too. And I want to say hi to everybody on Rumble. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on Rumble and hit the follow button if you're not following me. Subscribe. Is that what it says? Subscribe. Got to do that every now and then. I always forget. I'm over an hour in the broadcast, so I never said anything one time. But anyway. Here's something from Ken Paxton a while back. What is it? Ken Paxton, he will announces he will primary Senator John Cornyn. Yeah. I think Ken Paxton's going to be the next senator from Texas. Well, what's John Cornyn done? He kind of runs into the spotlight, does a little bit, and then dips back out. I'm looking at some of these older. Time had this up a week ago. Dealing with it. What's that supposed to mean? Dealing with it. He's doing more than dealing with it. When they can't be nasty, they're just middle of the road. There you go. Here's another one for your meta. Trans women are con men. I've had that for a while. I'm back. I'm back. Gotta watch them buttons. There we go. Let me see. Oh, did you see that clip from Pete Hegseth where he's going to be getting rid of high-level flag officers and generals? Have you all heard that? This was the day before, maybe 2 days before, the Supreme Court came in on barring transgenders. He's going to get rid of about 30% of the top officer corps. They shouldn't even be there. He's separating the wheat from the chaff.
We're back with more DOD reforms. This one is General and Flag Officer Reductions. That's the official title. My title is Less Generals, More GIs. It's a historic one, and it's in keeping with President Trump's commitment to achieving peace through strength. We're going to shift resources from bloated headquarters elements to our warfighters. Let's take a bit of a trip down memory lane. In history, when we were fighting across the globe during World War II, we had a force that was 12 million strong. For that 12 million man element, we had 17 4- and 5-star generals. Today, we have 2.1 million service members with 44 4-star and flag officers. So it used to be a ratio of 1 general to 6,000 troops. Today, it's 1 general to 1,400. More generals and admirals does not equal more success. Now, this is not a slash and burn exercise meant to punish high-ranking officers. Nothing could be further from the truth. This has been a deliberative process, working with the Joint Chiefs of Staff with one goal: maximizing strategic readiness and operational effectiveness by making prudent reductions in the general and flag officer ranks. So there's 2 phases here. We're looking at our current service structure.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember about 6 years ago reports coming through that there were about 30% of the flag officers were against Trump in these like private polling or voting that they conduct. There was about 30% of them that were Obama plants. Is that what they're getting rid of here?
And in phase 2, it's a strategic review of the Unified Command Plan. Now, this is going to be, we think, the most comprehensive review since the Goldwater-Nichols Defense Reorganization Act of 1986. That was a generational change in combat command structures, planning, training, geographic areas of responsibility, mission, and operational responsibilities. So, as I said, it's going to happen in 2 phases. The result of phase 1 is a minimum of 20% reduction of 4-star and flag officers for active duty elements, and a minimum of 20% reduction of general and flag officers in the National Guard Bureau. Phase 2 will produce a minimum of an additional 10% reduction of overall general and flag officers throughout the DoD, in conjunction with a realignment of the Unified Command Plan. It's going to be done carefully, but it's going to be done expeditiously. We confront a complex and evolving threat environment. We cannot afford to wait. We got to be lean and mean, and in this case, it means general officer reductions.
Yes, that's a major shakeup. Major shakeup in the armed services, and you don't hear a peep. You don't hear a peep. 4-star generals and flag officers, out of here. The troublemakers, you out of here. Whoa, where's all my stuff? Here's a few little funnies about the Pope. New Pope spends first day undoing all of former Pope's executive orders. That's from the Babylon Bee. He's definitely got a different vibe. He's spoken out against crazy immigration policies. He spoke out against alternate lifestyles, especially with children involved. And he's turned his back on the alphabet flag. Rate Field, they had put him on the big board there. Named the 268th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Southside's very own, on the south side of Chicago. Pope Bob, I don't know about that. Here's a clip I got from Laura Logan, a guest she had on her program, speaking her mind about who's the deadbeat, the father or the mother.
My thing is, why are we giving you money and you don't even, you getting rid of it? Like, you don't even want the responsibility, okay? And we are rewarding women for terminating their pregnancy and then calling a man a deadbeat. So if the father doesn't want the baby, by law, he's forced to be responsible for the baby for 18 years. They make him pay child support. They'll put him in jail. They'll take his license, everything, if he doesn't want the baby. But if the mother doesn't want the baby, she gets to terminate the baby and get a pat on the back. and they call the father the deadbeat. But you the deadbeat, mama, not the daddy. You deaded the beat. You stopped the heartbeat. You're the deadbeat, not the man, not the dad. So, I mean, at the same time, they want equal rights. Well, if a woman should be able to abort a baby when she doesn't want it, then the man should be able to walk away when he doesn't want it. A man should be able to abandon the baby when he doesn't want it. And then we can be able to see how ridiculous all of this really actually sounds.
Yeah, it's worse than ridiculous. It's evil. But I guess they wanted to keep it somewhat grounded. Here, let me play some clips of Mr. T. Well, here's this is another post from Dan Scavino? Let me see. What's this? Oh, yeah, Scavino put this up. They're all screaming and yelling to get Abrego Garcia back. And here's an American hostage, the last American hostage held by Hamas being released. And his mother hears his voice. Close enough to Mother's Day for me. You got a happy mom.
אתה בחוץ, נשמה שלי, אתה בחוץ. זהו, אני פה, אני מחכה לך. הכל טוב, אתה בסדר, אתה מוגן, אתה בבית. הכל טוב, תן בראש, אתה חזק, עוד מעט נפגשים. אוהבת אותך, נשמה שלי, אוהבת אותך, יאללה, אני רוצה לראות אותך, קדימה. They just released a photo of you. You look unbelievable, wow. You look beautiful, I love you so much. אתה נראה מדהים. I love you, and I'm gonna see you, soon.
She's getting her baby boy back. She's getting her baby boy. Only a mother knows how that feels when you thought they were gone forever. Here we have, what's this? China. CHYNA. The United States and China have made significant progress. Now, I got this because this is what the Chinese news agencies are putting out. We're hearing what the Trump administration is putting out. Well, let's see if they're happy with the deal. They made significant progress and reached, quote, an important consensus in their trade talks. This is the vice premier, He Lifeng, said after meeting with Secretary Bessent. He described the discussions as frank, in-depth, and constructive, saying both sides agreed to establish trade consultation mechanism for future discussions. China and the United States will agree on relevant details as soon as possible and release a joint statement reached during the May 12 talks. So they signal positive results from talks with China in Geneva. Well, it's been a success, along with the other successes. But I will show you the drumbeat of negative crap they put out today, that one channel. And I heard Mark Garagos had something to do with that Midas Trash Network. Remember me bringing that up? Well, he got in trouble with the judge in the P. Diddy case because he apparently been going on talk shows or going on social media. He said something about Diddy having a six-pack of white women was the reason he was in trouble, and the judge really cracked on him. That reminds me, something we haven't heard about. All those attorneys that were involved with threatening the Supreme Court on Easter weekend, I heard that the lower court federal district judge, was really mad about that, and he is calling people in. I guess the show calls Why Shouldn't You Be? in trouble for contempt of court. Never mind all this crapola you're trying to pull with Trump. But I wanted to show you the guys this picture and get your thoughts. These are two thumbnails that nasty channels put up, okay? And I want to get your all's thoughts on whether this should be allowed on these platforms. Here is some pack of malcontents, miscreants, called Political Voices Network. Lawrence O'Donnell predicts Trump's worst day ever is coming soon. Look at the picture. What does that picture tell you if you were scrolling through YouTube? You know what I think of Lawrence O'Donnell and MSNBC? Your daily political fix. The next one's even worse. I almost don't want to put it up. But I put it in their comments section after I reported it. These are some vicious-minded sites popping up on YouTube, walking a very fine line of incitement and vitriol. Any attorneys involved with the promulgation of this type of violent imagery and spiteful rhetoric should be sanctioned and disbarred. Get a screenshot of that, and you can use my verbiage anytime you want. Because to me, it's showing him collapsed on a stage or SHOT, all right? When do you ever put a picture of the President of the United States flat on his back with a crowd behind him? This next one got another complaint from me. Harry Litman, Talking Feds. This is the one I didn't want to put up. Can you imagine? This is his channel. Talking Feds with Harry Litman. Look at that thumbnail and what it says. Beaten to a pulp. That is violent imagery. Here's what I put in my report. Look at the thumbnail pic. Depicts the President of the U.S. as having been violently beaten with a black eye and bruises on his head and face. The text, beaten to a pulp, just vicious wishful thinking and appealing to the violent-minded groups. This is supposed to be a household app, and these people act insanely. Disallow depictions of violence on the public leaders. Do you all agree with me, or do you think I'm overreacting? Is that violent imagery? I say yes. And Mr. Talking Feds, Harry Litman, what have you ever done? What have you ever achieved besides going into some government building when you felt like it and getting fat paychecks? While the whole bureaucracy is running wild, stealing trillions, pushing psychological nightmares on young people, and driving people in poverty and despair. Is that your legacy as a Fed? Just a dopey bureaucrat? I see, yeah. Thank you all. I agree. And if you see something like that, notice I didn't use insults. And I laid it out for what it is. Violent imagery and wishful thinking. And it will incite violent people to put up images like that. Egging them on. Clandestine put this up. Whoa. About the Trump on his way to Saudi Arabia and will visit Qatar, United Arab Emirates. He's put up a map. Let me find that map. Here's what's going to be happening in the next couple of days. Okay, there's the map. Meanwhile, Putin will be in Iran on the 13th. All right? Trump will be on the way to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. The red arrows you see there. Putin will be in Iran. You see the green arrow, Tehran. And Zelensky will be in Turkey on the 15th and has invited Putin to come for negotiations. The red circle in the upper left-hand corner of the map, Istanbul, right? You see it? Trump, Putin, and Zelensky will all be within very close range of each other this week. Maybe it's just a coincidence, or maybe there will be a dialogue or direct meetings. We have not been informed yet. Something to keep an eye on. Well, of course, we all have the utmost concern for the well-being of the President of the United States. And we're not the only ones, okay? And if we don't have the military on our side, we lost before we started. I know the military's on our side, and I know they're protecting the president. But while everybody is criticizing Trump, he's getting things done in a big way, a huge way, Y-U-G-E. Here's another message to the Supreme Court. If we're not allowed to send the murderers and other criminals of every size, shape, type, size, shape immediately out of our country, we aren't going to have a country anymore. Radical left judges and politicians don't care, but 90% of the people in the USA do. Hopefully, the Supreme Court will agree with this and save America. One of my thumbnails said, "Nothing can stop me." That is a quote from Donald Trump. Nothing will stop me, I believe it was. Nothing will stop me. And the rest of that sentence was from protecting the American people, keeping the American people safe. So he will enjoin his executive powers. If the Supreme Court won't protect the American people, he will. Senator Chris Van Hollen claims white South Africans do not need refugee status after Trump admits 60, I heard it was 58, to the United States. Quote, Trump and Musk are about to give refugee status to 60 white South Africans who do not need it, while Trump locks up and deports refugees here who face genuine dangers in other countries. Yeah, the danger of getting caught as a gang member and serving your prison time in your own country. Let's see. Let me play this clip. You guys up for some Trump clips? You guys up for some Trump clips? Because I'm going to play them.
On Qatar. Has Qatar
for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force.
This was before the signing. He went over all this and explained it in great detail. And even after that, ABC News interrupts the signing with those dopey questions you heard earlier.
Air Force One that's 40 years old. And if you take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time, it's not even the same ballgame. You look at some of the Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane. It's like from a different planet. And it's close to 40 years old, might be more than 40 years old now. And we, when I first came in, I signed an order to get it built. I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed. I got the price down much lower. And then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous. And it ended up being a total mess, a real mess. And when I came back, I said, by the way, what's going on with the Boeings that are coming in? Well, sir, they're way behind. And they are. They're way behind. They were way behind. Another mess that I inherited from Biden. And it's going to be a while before we get them. And I think Qatar, who has really, we've helped them a lot over the years in terms of security and safety. I think they, and very, very nicely, and I have a lot of respect for the leadership and for the leader, Qatar. And I think they knew about it because they buy Boeings. They buy a lot of Boeings. And they knew about it. And they said, we would like to do something. And if we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones, I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And it helps us out because, again, we're talking about we have 40-year-old aircraft. The money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy-top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be...
Yes, he said tippy-top. Remember that from a long time ago? When somebody put that, asked Trump to say that on the board, on the CUE board. If you all can prove who you are, Trump will say tippy-top. And he did. That was 8 years ago? Maybe it's nothing. I don't know.
Be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to, all of those countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and others, we keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now. And I think this was just a gesture of good faith. And I don't get it. Someday it'll be like Ronald Reagan. They decommission them. They get to a certain age, they decommission them. It'll go to my library. They're talking about going to my library in years out. But I thought it was a great gesture. And it's something that was done by Ronald Reagan. They actually decommissioned the plane, and he put it in his library. And it actually has made the library, I think, a Boeing 707. It's actually made the library more successful. So it was good.
Do you plan to use the plane after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No.
See, they're trying to rope him into saying that he's going to get some benefit out of it. And it's like he said, without the U.S., those countries probably wouldn't even exist right now. Iran is a danger with the current mullah leadership. It's going to go to the library. Oh, before I play this clip, One of these goofball, here, wait a minute. Dan Scavino put this up. Oh, since people were belly aching about the Dan Scavino, Trump accepts generous gift of Imperial class Star Destroyer from Emperor Palpatine. And one of these loser, creepy liberal sites, where is it? Put up something about it. Maybe I got puked out and didn't even put it up. Maybe I did. It was something like Now This Impact. It had violent quotations. Who's going to pay for his coffin? Stuff like that on YouTube. And I have to walk on eggshells. I wish I could find it. But anyway, I got another clip of Trump. We'll play this one, see what he's got to say. I mean, these people are miscreants, malcontents.
Up to these talks in person in Turkey, will you join Europe in putting higher sanctions on Russia?
If I felt it would be important toward getting the deal done, I'm the one that insisted on the meeting. They couldn't get a meeting because one said ceasefire, one said no ceasefire. It was going back and forth. I said, look, at this point, we got to stop it. Just go to the meeting. The meeting's been set. Go to the meeting on Thursday. And if I thought it would be helpful, I don't know where I'm going to be at that particular point. I'll be someplace in the Middle East, but I would fly there if I thought it would be helpful. Yeah, please.
I want to ask you about South African refugees. Dozens of Afrikaners who claim discrimination in their home country are heading to the United States, where your administration is going to welcome them as refugees. Now, this comes as you've halted virtually all refugee admissions for people fleeing famine and war from countries like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why are you creating an expedited path into the country for Afrikaners but not others?
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa, and the newspapers and the media, television media doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here. Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris Van Hollen, or whatever his name is, says, we don't need them. They don't need. Yeah, right. You're not sleeping in bed and having a bunch of characters kick your door down and drag you out of your house. And I won't say what else. But here's one more clip from Mr. T. Okay? And I'm going to wrap it up with this. And I hope you enjoy this clip. I believe he's talking about a friend who's taking a fat shot. Maybe it's not that one. I don't know. But we'll enjoy it together. I think it's one of the most historic days, most historic Monday, beginning of a week for any administration. Leaps and bounds. And we'll watch how the media tries to make a mountain out of a molehill and define Trump in a bad way. But we'll keep resisting it because we are the news now. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. And if you're not subscribed, do me a favor and hit that button. I will be going live again Wednesday, maybe tomorrow if something big happens, okay? Let's keep our fingers crossed and pray for Mr. T. He's on foreign soil at this very moment, dealing with some very challenging issues. So, folks, enjoy this clip. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
As you know from Stanford, so highly regarded, and have all been working with us very hard on this. And the question they would ask, being a little bit new to the government aspect of it, is why doesn't somebody fight the drug price situation, meaning equalization? There's a term, it's called equalization. Nobody wants to mention that term. And I'm not knocking the drug companies. I'm really more knocking the countries than the drug companies, because they're forced to do things. But the drug lobby is the strongest lobby in this country, they say, the drug lobby. It's between that and lawyers. And they have a lot of power. But starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries, which is what we were doing. We're subsidizing others' health care. Countries where they paid a small fraction of what, for the same drug, that what we pay many, many times more for. And we'll no longer tolerate profiteering and price gouging from Big Pharma. But again, it was really the countries that forced Big Pharma to do things that, frankly, I'm not sure they really felt comfortable doing. But they've gotten away with it, these countries. European Union has been brutal. And the drug companies actually told me stories. It was just brutal how they forced them. And European Union suing all our companies, Apple, Google, Meta, they're suing all of our companies. They end up, they have judges that are European Union-centric, and they get rewarded $15 billion, $17 billion, $20 billion, and they use that to run their operation. Not going to happen any longer, that I can tell you. So what's been happening is we've been subsidizing other countries throughout the world, not just in Europe, throughout the world. European Union was the most difficult, from what I understand. I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on? He said, so I checked. And it's the same box, made in the same plant, by the same company. It's the identical pill that I buy in New York. And here I'm paying $88 in London. In New York, I'm paying $1,300. Now, this is a great businessman, but he's not familiar with this crazy situation that we have. But he was stunned. But it was just one of